TVA says the earthquake didn't cause any damage or disruptions to its operations. This morning, TVA sent workers to each of its facilities, including nuclear plants, fossil plants, and dams. That includes Watts Bar, which is close to the epicenter of the earthquake. TVA says they are all operating safely and say their facilities are built to withstand more than the highest recorded earthquake in Tennessee.
Here in East Tennessee, you have to go back all the way into the 1800s to get to the most significant earthquake, which was above a 6.0. So today's 4.4 is not even close to what we're designed to withstand, which is above a 6.0 earthquake.
TVA says some of its operations have earthquake detectors built in, so if there is one larger than today's, operations will automatically go into safety mode. Coming up at 5 and 6, is your home built to withstand an earthquake? We find out. Within minutes of the earthquake, we had hundreds of comments on our Facebook page. You can see some of those reactions right now at WBIR.com. Plus, see how widespread the shaking was on the Did You Feel It map from the USGS. And find a link to report it if you felt the shaking, all right now on our website.